Iran's President Ibrahim Raisi was killed in a helicopter crash this past weekend in the country's remote northwest, along with its foreign minister, local media confirmed on Monday. Eyes are on how this could impact the Middle East that's already mired in confrontation. The leaders of South Korea and the UK will co-host the AI Seoul Summit, a two-day event starting from Tuesday, where world leaders and business players in the sector aim to delve into innovation, safety, and inclusivity for the technology that's now almost ubiquitous. With the government doctors' conflict well into 3 months, the authorities are renewing their requests for trainee doctors to return to work by today so they can meet requirements for next year's specialist examinations. It's May 20th, 2024. This is Newscenter. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. I'm Yoon Jung-min. We begin in the Middle East. Iran's President Ibrahim Raisi has been confirmed dead in a helicopter crash in the country's remote northwest. Our Shin Se-byuk has the latest.
Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi and Iran's foreign minister have been confirmed dead after the helicopter they were traveling in crashed on Sunday. That is according to Iran's Mehr news agency on Monday. Rescuers located the helicopter carrying the president and 8 others in the mountainous region of northwest Iran, where they found no sign of life. In the early hours of Monday, a Turkish drone identified a heat source suspected to be the wreckage of the helicopter. The detected heat source was located near the village of Tavil in Iran, approximately 30 kilometers from the Azerbaijani border. The Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps also confirmed that the heat source found by the Turkish drone could be the wreckage of the helicopter carrying President Raisi. President Raisi had been in Azerbaijan for the opening of a dam with the country's president Ilham Aliyev. Both the U.S. and the EU are watching developments surrounding the crash cautiously. U.S. President Joe Biden is said to have been briefed on the incident during his visit to the state of Georgia, with U.S. officials keeping close tabs on the story. European Council President Charles Michel also said he is watching for developments carefully, but did not elaborate further. Many countries with strained relations with Tehran have remained quiet on the matter. However, countries like Saudi Arabia and Turkey have expressed support for Iran, saying they are ready to provide any help required for search operations. Shin Se-byuk, Arirang News.
Now, eyes are on what happens next in Iran with the sudden death of its president. Our foreign affairs correspondent Bae Yoon-ji explains.
Ibrahim Raisi, a hardliner and religiously conservative politician, was elected as Iran's president in 2021. The 63-year-old enforced brutal crackdowns on protests over repressive laws, such as the mandatory hijab rules. Mass protests went on for months in Iran starting in late 2022 over the death of a 22-year-old woman, Mahsa Amini, who had been detained over allegedly not wearing a hijab. In Iran, the president is the second highest ranking official after the supreme leader. Raisi was long seen as a potential successor to the current supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, who holds ultimate power regarding domestic and foreign affairs in the country. Khamenei sought to reassure the public in a statement on Saturday, saying the Iranians should not worry.
Be sure that there will be no disruption to the work of the country.
Raisi's death comes at a sensitive time for Iran and amid growing tensions in the Middle East over Israel's war against Hamas. Last month, Iran launched an unprecedented drone and missile attack on Israel, marking its first ever direct attack on the country in response to an Israeli airstrike on Iran's consulate. With the sudden death of Raisi, an expert says a ferocious struggle for power may have begun.
Ibrahim Raisi was a very leading contender for the position of the supreme leader. Now, the big question in Iran is what happens when Ayatollah Khamenei, who is 95, passes away, who is going to be the next supreme leader? A key contender for that was or is Ibrahim Raisi. And so with him out of the way, that would be very significant.
Under the Iranian constitution, Vice President Mohammad Mober is expected to become the country's interim president. He will be part of a three-person council along with the Speaker of Parliament and the head of judiciary that will arrange a new presidential election within 50 days of the president's death. This means a new election is expected to be held by early July instead of in 2025. 배은지, Arirang News.
South Korea and the United Kingdom will co-host the AI Seoul Summit this week, beginning Tuesday. It's expected to set out a vision for governing the technology, expanding on the declaration made at the AI Safety Summit in England last year. Our Oh Soo-young tells us what to expect.
South Korea and Britain are working to reach a joint statement with world leaders on advancing innovation, safety and inclusivity in artificial intelligence in a virtual summit co-hosted by the two nations. In a briefing Monday, South Korea's top office said the AI Seoul Summit will kick off on Tuesday, with the leaders of G7 nations, Singapore and Australia invited to follow up on the first AI Safety Summit last November. While the Bletchley Park Summit focused on addressing threats to humanity posed by the fast-evolving technology, this whole session will expand the agenda to include innovation and inclusivity, with leaders expected to adopt an agreement on the way forward. Heads of international organizations, including the United Nations and the European Union, as well as global tech giants like Samsung, Naver, Google, Amazon and OpenAI have also been invited.
Participants will hold a balanced discussion on not only the risks posed by AI, but also its positive aspects and how AI can contribute to humanity.
In a joint op-ed on Monday, President Yoon and British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak emphasized the need for global standards to regulate and mitigate risks posed by AI, to transform lives for the better and stop the global race to the bottom. They said the AI Seoul Summit is expected to set out a vision for multilateral governance of the technology to tackle global challenges such as poverty and climate change. President Yoon, beginning with his New York initiative in 2022, has actively promoted global efforts to form norms on advancing digital innovation for the benefit of humanity, whilst expanding access and rights to gain from technology. On the second day of the summit, a ministerial session and the AI Global Forum will take place offline to expand the conversation.
The AI Global Forum aims to advance discussions with various stakeholders, including governments, firms, experts and civil society, under the theme of governance for embracing AI safety innovation.
A presidential official told reporters China was not invited to join the leaders' meeting, in line with the first AI Safety Summit, but Beijing has agreed to participate in the ministerial session on Wednesday. Acknowledging the differences on governing technology, namely between liberal democracies and Beijing, the official said such issues are likely to be discussed throughout the summit. Yoon's office says by leading the comprehensive conversation on setting digital standards, South Korea hopes to expand its global reach as a technological leader and also become one of the world's top 3 powers in artificial intelligence. Oh Soo-young, Arirang News.
President Yoon held a phone call with Singapore's new Prime Minister Lawrence Wong on Monday and discussed ways to strengthen bilateral relations ahead of the 50th anniversary of opening diplomatic ties next year. Yoon congratulated Wong, who took office last week. Calling Singapore a key partner, President Yoon called for the bolstering of cooperation in the digital, AI, and infrastructure sectors. Wong thanked Yoon and talked of working together to further elevate bilateral relations in various fields, including politics, the economies, and culture. He also suggested stronger cooperation in AI ahead of the AI Seoul Summit. South Korea and Japan are expected to hold a defense ministerial meeting in Singapore later this month, during which the two sides are likely to touch upon the 2018 petrol aircraft dispute once again to prevent a recurrence. Our defense correspondent Choi Min-jung has more.
A Japanese national newspaper has hinted that South Korea and Japan will soon resume bilateral defense exchanges, which have been on hold since the 2018 patrol aircraft dispute. Yomiuri Shimbun on Monday reported that the defense ministers of the two sides are expected to meet on the sidelines of the Shangri-La dialogue in Singapore at the end of the month, where they're expected to hold talks and exchange documents on preventing a recurrence. The dispute flared up in December 2018 when a Japanese maritime patrol aircraft flew at an unusually low altitude over a South Korean warship. Tokyo, on the other hand, accused the South Korean vessel of blocking its fire control radar. Talks have been suspended since 2019. South Korea's defense ministry confirmed that the two sides are currently in talks.
South Korea and Japan already confirmed their positions last year regarding this issue and decided to prepare measures to prevent a recurrence from a future-oriented perspective. We are closely cooperating with Japan.
Japan's media has acknowledged that the incident has been the biggest barrier between the defense authorities of Seoul and Tokyo and turned the spotlight on whether the resumption of defense exchanges will serve as an opportunity to rebuild trust between the two sides. Choi Min-dong, Arirang News.
In a press conference today, the country's Unification Minister revealed some changes to the organization of the North Korean Workers' Party in what appears to be Pyongyang's effort to deny the idea of reunification. Our North Korean affairs correspondent Kim Jong-sil has this report.
Unification Minister Kim Yong-ho revealed new findings on North Korea while reaffirming Seoul's policy against the regime in a press conference on Monday.
The North hasn't announced it yet, but its United Front Department has renamed the Workers' Party Central Committee Bureau 10, and its functions have been centralized on psychological warfare.
North Korea's United Front Department served as the counterpart to South Korea's Ministry of Unification. A senior ministry official said the change means Pyongyang is now only focusing on espionage against the South and not efforts related to reunification. Other experts said it was notable that the North had decided to keep the department intact, although under a different name. When asked about former President Moon Jae-in's recent memoir in which he wrote he trusted Kim Jong-un's sincerity, that he has no intention of using nuclear weapons, the minister responded as follows.
What's most important is to read our counterparts' intention and capability. North Korea has the capability to threaten us through its nuclear and missile development. If we only focus on its intention while overlooking its ability, this could lead to a misjudgment of the state.
He said one of the toughest challenges remaining was Pyongyang's refusal to engage in dialogue.
The inter-Korean communication channel should resume regardless of the political and military situation, at least for humanitarian purposes and disaster response measures. It's urgent to restore such channels ahead of the monsoon season.
The minister plans to visit Seonyu-do Beach this Friday along with U.S. Special Envoy Julie Turner, where 16-year-old Kim Young-nam was abducted by the North in 1978 to raise awareness of the issue. Kim Jong-sil, Arirang News.
New Taiwan President William Lai Ching-te called on China to stop threatening the democratic island. Lai's remarks came on Monday as he was sworn in as the new president, pledging to uphold Taiwan's constitution in relations with China at his inauguration ceremony. He urged Beijing to accept Taiwan's existence, respect the choice of Taiwan, show sincerity, and replace military confrontation with dialogue. Lai also showed his willingness to have cooperative exchanges with China on equal terms, starting with the tourism and education sectors. With the government doctors' conflict well into 3 months, the authorities are renewing their request for trainee doctors to return to work by today so they can meet requirements for next year's specialist examinations. Yoon tells us more.
The ongoing medical dispute over the government's plan to increase South Korea's medical school quota is persisting, with the government urging trainee doctors who have been absent for 3 months to return to work on Monday to fulfill the training period requirements needed to qualify for next year's specialist certification examinations. At a Central Disaster and Safety Countermeasure Headquarters meeting on Monday, Health Minister Cho Kyu-hong said that while individual circumstances may vary, trainee doctors who left their positions starting from February 19th must return by today, which marked 3 months of absence. However, the government added that it will be flexible for those who have extended leave or sick leave. And as they continue their efforts to convince trainee doctors to return to hospitals, the government also expressed hope that medical students would return to school. Meanwhile, the 2025 university admission plan, which reflects the increased number of medical school admissions, is expected to be finalized by this Friday, May 24th. As details including the selection ratio for regional talent recruitment and the ratios of regular and early admissions have not yet been made public, the finalization of the admission plan will likely prompt students to begin preparing for the exams. The Korean Council for University Education will hold a University Admissions Committee meeting this week to review and approve the 2025 University Admission Plan amendments submitted by universities nationwide. According to a council representative on Sunday, the committee needs to approve the plan this week to enable universities to announce their admission guidelines by the end of this month. Regarding the enforcement of administrative measures such as license suspensions, a presidential office spokesperson said Sunday that each case will be looked at on an individual basis, with administrative measures against the medical professionals who have left their workplace to depend on their behavioral shifts since they began their protest. The official added that the government is currently evaluating the timing, severity, and approach of these measures. Lee Eun-hee, Arirang News.
The top office has apologized for causing confusion by announcing a ban on overseas items that are not KC certified, a certification that proves items meet Korea's safety regulations. This came from President's Chief of Staff for Policy Song Tae-yoon on Monday, a day after the government officially scrapped the new policy just 3 days after it was announced due to backlash from the public that it limits the choice of consumption. Song added the president has instructed measures to prevent the recurrence of these types of situations by conducting stronger policy reviews and enhancing public consultations, among others. This month, we mark 2 years since the opening of the Blue House to the public as a venue of culture. And in light of this occasion, a host of events are being held in Seoul. Our An Song-jin was there.
Back to the people. South Korea's Blue House, also known as Cheongwade, is marking 2 years since it first opened its doors to the public on May 10, 2022. After President Yoon moved the presidential office to Yongsan-gu district, the previous office located in Jongno-gu district has been holding a range of events. As well as tours inside, a series of art, music, and media performances are taking place which will continue throughout the summer. Special exhibitions will be on display such as Handshakes for Freedom, which shows records of diplomatic efforts, and Children Drawing Hope, an exhibition of Ukrainian children's art. And there will be classical music, jazz, and K-pop concerts.
Among the various events that are taking place at the Blue House, this traditional performance festival offers a wide range of Korean folk music and dance performances.
Samulnori, traditional music with 4 percussion instruments, was performed on the stage. The showcase, a collaboration between 4 universities, uses the themes of joy, pleasure, sorrow, and anger to show the lives of people in the past. Another concert blends Korean folk music and jazz, and visitors could also enjoy a traditional Hauhae mask performance, which is a satire on the lives of people during the Joseon dynasty. A culture expert said that such events can help bring the Blue House and the people closer.
Opening this area as a cultural complex space like this allows more communication with the people, but above all, how it's used is the most important. A historical museum that displays historical records of the Blue House can make it even more future-oriented.
The Culture Ministry and Blue House Foundation aim to brand the Blue House as a culture and art space that can be enjoyed by citizens, and such events will further help create that identity. An Song-jin, Arirang News.
Time now to take a look at what's been happening in the world of sports. Joining us in the studio is our sports editor, Paul Need. Hello, Paul.
Hello there.
Let's first start with football. The English Premier League season concluded on Sunday, and Son Heung-min, he managed to make it double figures for assists.
Yes, that's right. It is double figures for assists and also for goals. He scored 17 goals this season. This is the 3rd time that Son has managed to hit double figures for both goals and assists. Also, he's the only 6th player in Premier League history to do that. His 10th assist of the season came on Sunday in Tottenham's 3-0 win over Sheffield United, teeing up Dejan Kulusevski in the 65th minute. Tottenham finished 5th in the league, meaning they'll play in the Europa League next season. Meanwhile, at the very top of the table, Manchester City sealed a record 4th Premier League title in a row. On the final day, City had to at least match Arsenal's result and did so, beating West Ham 3-1. Arsenal beat Everton 2-1.
And sticking with football, it was a busy weekend in Europe, with other leagues also having concluded this weekend.
Yes, including in France, where there was a goal and assist for Yi Gang-in. On Sunday, in Paris Saint-Germain's 2-0 away win over Metz, Yi Gang-in laid on an assist for Carlos Soler inside 7 minutes. Just 5 minutes later, and Lee doubled PSG's advantage with his 3rd league goal of the season. PSG ended the campaign 9 points clear at the top of the table as the French League champions and have the French Cup final coming up against Lyon next Saturday local time. In Germany, Bayer Leverkusen became the first German team to go a whole season unbeaten. The recently crowned League champions of Germany beat Augsburg 2-1 on the final day to make it 26 wins and 6 draws from 34 matches.
And moving on to baseball now, Lee Jong-hoo's season is over.
I'm afraid so, yes. He's to undergo surgery on his shoulder. His club, the San Francisco Giants, announced on Friday that the surgery will go ahead in the next couple of weeks and that he won't return this year. According to Yonhap, Lee Jong-hoo met with an orthopedic surgeon who recommended surgery to repair a torn labrum. In 37 games this season, he scored 2 home runs and 8 RBIs. Elsewhere in MLB, Kim Ha-sung on Sunday hit his 6th home run of the season, but first in 12 matches. It was also his first multi-hit match in 21. Batting 9th, Kim drew a walk to open the 2nd inning and then singled off starter Bryce Elder to lead off the 4th. His San Diego Padres beat the Atlanta Braves 9-1.
And finally to athletics, a smile jumper has another reason to smile. What can you tell us about Woo Sang-hyuk?
Yes, a medal again for him and one more that's silver as well. On Sunday in Tokyo, Woo Sang-hyuk finished 2nd at the Seiko Golden Grand Prix. He cleared 2 meters and 27. Yuval Reith of Australia won the competition, clearing 2 meters 30. Woo Sang-hyuk had 3 attempts at 2 meters 30, but fell short in the process. The Seiko Golden Grand Prix is a World Athletics Continental Tour Gold Meeting Series event, and Woo Sang-hyuk actually won the competition last year. His aim for the rest of the year is to beat his personal and Korean record of 2 meters 36. He'll have the chance to do so in the Paris Olympics coming up this summer.
Fingers crossed. All right, thanks for that, Paul. See you next time.
Thank you.
Today is what's called Soman, which marks the beginning of summer on the lunar calendar. Early summer heat continued in Chungcheongnam-do province, and in Daegu, temperatures rose to 30 degrees Celsius. However, in central and northern areas, including Seoul, light rain fell with cloudy weather. Tomorrow will be mostly sunny across the country, and it will be hot in the center parts of the country. In the middle of the day tomorrow, the UV rays will soar in the most parts of the country, except Gyeongsangbuk-do province, from high to very high. You might want to put on sunscreen to protect your skin. Tomorrow, Seoul and Busan will start off at 16 degrees. Highs will move up to 28 in Seoul, Chuncheon, Daejeon, and Gwangju. During the rest of the week, it will be as hot as early summer, and daily temperature differences will continue to be very large. That's all for Korea. Here are the weather conditions around the world.
That is Newscenter for tonight. Thank you for watching. A panel session coming up.